we are going to introduction. So what we do normally, so I'm not going to spend lots of time here. So those who joined for the first time, we are the active technical community who conducts meetups and campus reach programs, and we give hands-on experience by providing volunteer project opportunities, and we do the certification bootcamp program and offering the certification free vouchers for those who are interested in getting certified. And apart from that, we do some community work. So you can find us here in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, official community group. We actually officially registered Salesforce community group. So we are traveling with the Salesforce community, with the what are all the communities active in the world. And we have a WhatsApp group, Slack group, as well as we have our own website. Okay, so you have a chance to be active and spread the message about these meetings and traveling with us in social media, and you can win stacks. So as we do normally, we will select the best tweet, best LinkedIn post, best Salesforce Facebook post, and we will award the stacks for the winners. So if you are interested, meanwhile, you can do the post. Make sure you are making the post public, then only we can see and get you your stacks. Okay, so Hackforce. So those who are joining first time here, so I'm going to talk a bit about Hackforce. So as I said, like this session is fully focusing on giving the Salesforce basics, but yeah, it's just a little bit time, so I'm not going to spend lots of time here. So it's a little bit introduction about Hackforce. So Hackforce is a Salesforce hackathon. So last time we did Hackforce only for students, and this time we are opening for the professionals. But in order to maintain the team, like everyone should be have the equal opportunity, that's why we are limiting the professionals who's ever having less than 2 years experience in Salesforce only can be part of these competitions. So the students and professionals, you can join, you can form your team and register. And what we are going to do is, like, you can learn the Salesforce technology via workshop. So those who doesn't know Salesforce, you can start from zero. With a workshop, you can learn Salesforce and you can proceed with the competition. And we are doing the mentorship program, which means you will have the idea and you will learn Salesforce in workshops. And you will, sometime you might confuse whether the track you are going is right, or you need some support, right, since it's a new technology. That's why we are having the mentorship program. Here we are going to give one mentor for each and every team who's over registering for this Hackforce. So what the mentor will do is, they will guide you. If you are going in wrong track, you can discuss with your mentor, or if you have any blockers issue, you can discuss with your mentor, and they will fine tune your path, as well as they will guide you along with Salesforce how you can visualize your idea using Salesforce in a final event. So throughout this journey, the mentors will be traveling with you. So if you have any problem with mentor, you can always raise to us, so we will do the necessary arrangements, as well as we are going to give you some guidance as a peers. So they will be there in order to support for more fine level steps if you have any issues. The mentors will be the actual industry specialists. So they will not connect with you every day, right? So they are actual professionals from industry, not us actually, because we want to give you the introduction from the industry people. So it's not like everything we will do, right? So we want to have the exposure. So they will be mentor for you, and we will be assigning some volunteers of us as a peers to support you in any of your issues, technical issues, whatever the issues you are facing. So you will get two supports in order to complete your product. And as well as we will have some evaluation sessions. So the Q&A sessions, evaluation sessions, knowledge sharing sessions, the workshops, not every workshops will be conducted by us. Right, we are going to have some special workshops from the industry professionals. So you will have the opportunity to interact with them, and you can impress them, and you can go to the next level. That's up to your talent, right? And we will be giving free access to the learning material. Anyway, learning to Salesforce is free. So you will be getting all the materials for free. So we will be guiding you to get in a right way, as well as in case if your idea requires something should be paid from Salesforce, which we can also afford, we will do it for you. So you don't need to spend anything on that. You should spend only your effort, as well as you should spend your time on the workshops, as well as on your making process. That's what our expectation from you. Okay, so let's get into that. Again, throughout our sessions, we talked about a lot about Salesforce. So again, I'm going to brief it here. So this session, only the technical part we are going to have it in detail. Rest of the things will be brief only. So Salesforce is a software as a service. So in simple terms, if I say what is Salesforce, it's a semi-configured product. If you wanted to do a solution related to the sales area, you have to purchase the Salesforce product called Sales Cloud, and you have to do the configuration based on your client's requirement on top of it. Right? If I'm too fast, let me know. Sometime I may go. So even the online participants, if I'm too fast, let me know so I can go slow. But these are the section I'm purposefully going fast because I want you to give the full technical session today. Right? So Salesforce is a semi-configured product. This is very important for the Hackforce participants to think. If you have an idea, if you want to develop a system in Salesforce, if you are choosing a wrong Salesforce cloud and going, then again you will be struggling. Right? So if it is Sales Cloud, it will have the most of the sales process features who's over working in sales industry required. Right? Let's say a salesperson, so sales agents activities, sales managers activities, so those objects, so how they can capture the leads, how they can do the opportunities, how they can qualify the lead, how they can make it as an actual business, how they can deliver their product, everything, like they already have a model. So if you are purchasing Sales Cloud, you just have to do the configuration only based on your client's special requirement. They will have a special business process and they will have their branding, logos and all. So those things only you have to do. If you are purchasing a health cloud and doing a sales related activities, it's totally a wrong choice. You will have to suffer because you have to build everything from the scratch. Because health cloud will not have the features required for the sales industry. So health cloud is health. So they are related to hospitals or service providers, insurance, those related health cloud area, health care area related related activities only you can do efficiently in health cloud. If you are purchasing a service cloud and trying to build a health cloud product, again, it's a wrong choice. That's why when you have an idea, when you wanted to develop something, first choice is which cloud I want to purchase. Again, one more hint, as you all are going to do is for the competitions, you will be doing this in your developer free account. The developer free account will not have, will have all the features from not all. So most of the features from all the clouds in a single app. Right? But you should have the idea if you are making this product as a workable product and when you are giving for a customer, you should be able to reason it out. When I get this cloud access, I could able to do this modifications on this product and I can sell it to the customer. Likewise, in the final event or in your evaluations, right? That idea, you should get it, right? This is kind of hints. So entire workshop, we will be doing technical sessions as well as we will be giving some hints. So you should clearly catch, right? I can't give directly if your judge is asking question like that, do like that. I can't teach you like that. So it's up to your smartness to capture the hints, right? So likewise, Salesforce has lots of clouds. So what you have to do now, you have to explore your clouds. That should be your homework, right? I'm not going to test it like whether you did it or not. If you are doing, it's benefits for you. If you're not doing, when the judge asking questions in the final level, you will be thinking that time I could have it for this, right? So likewise. So why Salesforce? So why we are preferring Salesforce? So why the Fortune 100, Fortune 400, Fortune 500 companies are why they are trying to use Salesforce, right? So as a developer point of view, I have explained this slide in all the meetings and all the university sessions. Those who joined us first time, right? So in a legacy platform, in a native language development, if you have an idea, if you want to develop something, you should find the hardware requirement, you should find the software requirement, you should find the security model, and you should know how I can do the reporting analytic stuffs, and you have to make it mobile ready. Then only your app is final. Even if you are doing the system for any of the competition also, you should ensure everything should be there for you to do. But in order to do the system in Salesforce, you just need to have the idea. The Salesforce developer org, which you are going to create as for free, will have all the features, whatever required for you to complete a system. Right? And this is already mobile tab desktop view ready. So you don't need to do anything extra to make it mobile ready. Right? So if you wanted to do a system for the hackathon, so you just need idea. And you don't need to search for any software, you don't need to search for any hardware, you don't need to search for anything else, because everything there in a single developer org, which you are just signing up. The way you are creating a Facebook account, you are going to create the developer account. That's what we are doing today. So that is only required. So you have the software, you have the hardware, you have all the access, everything you have to point and click to understand. So configure the security is there, right? So for university system, so students can see certain information, lecturers can see certain information, but someone had to configure that, right? So in Salesforce, the security model is already there. You just have to select the relevant thing. You don't need to develop through code or anything else, right? The code development is required for the complex solutions and the complex development, right? So simplest solution, simplest development, you can do it with the point and click. Right? When I say like Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, obviously their requirement will be complex. So all the projects we are working in Salesforce, which require a point and click as well as code work, because most of the companies are working for biggest companies in Europe, US, Australia, likewise, right? So that's what Sri Lankan industry require developers from who have skill from point and click as development requirement. That is a different story. But in order to be a Salesforce developer, you just need to have the idea and you just need to have the capacity of learning. So when you have multiple tools, so in your storeroom, you will have multiple tools. If you want to sweep your house, you have a broomstick and you have different knife and all. You can't sweep the house with a knife, right? So you should choose the right tool. Same thing, you should know what is there in Salesforce and you should know when to use what. If you have that knowledge as well as you are good at forming logic, you can be a Salesforce developer. Just you can, because you don't need to search or anything, buy or anything to do some development in Salesforce. So demand and job market, Salesforce is a highly payable IT job. So IT is a highly payable job now, but Salesforce is a highly payable IT job. If you compare any country, if you take a Salesforce developer and other language developer, obviously the margin will be very high for Salesforce developer. Even in Sri Lanka, even US, all the countries, if you have Salesforce experience, at least 1 or 2 certifications, you will have 10 offer letter per person like us. Even US, Canada, everywhere the same thing. No, even Sri Lanka like that, right? So the job economy is high, the demand is high. So as I said, if you want to be a Salesforce developer in Sri Lanka, you should have the analytical skills as well. You should need some coding skills also, because all the projects in Sri Lanka, all the companies in Sri Lanka, we are looking for the developers who have both skills, because most of us working for Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies where the requirement is complex, right? You can find some remote jobs if you don't want to code, only point and click development. That's we can't 100% say you will get a job like that. That's what we omit that, right? Okay, so how we can get into Salesforce? This is very important, right? So you all have to create your Trailhead account. That's what we are going to do today, but I don't want to ask you to do right now. So during the break time, after the refresh, you can start the account creation. So it will be kind of great for you. Like so Trailhead account. Trailhead is a place where you can learn everything. It's like an online university, online library, right? So you can go and you can find the modules, you can find the trails, You have some competitions, you can find the videos, you can find some sample project, you can find super badges. Super badges is kind of project, right? So those things you can do it, and you can get the idea how I can build an app. So when you go there, they will guide you step by step. You don't need to think anything and search and do. They will guide you step by. This is purpose of the Trailhead is learning. That's why they are giving everything step by step. But you should not do it for the sake of like reading, and they will have some quizzes or they will have some activities or copy paste or just blindly, okay, I can go for option 1, option 2, likewise. You can't, if you are doing like that, you will complete the module, but you will not have the knowledge in your mind. That's risky. If you're applying for a Salesforce job, you just can carry only your Trailhead ID, because your Trailhead ID is saying what are the area you learn, what are the certification you hold, what you know in Salesforce, the Trailhead ID will say. Right? So when you say, okay, you have completed this module, as an interviewer, what we will do, okay, this person knows this area, and we will ask question from there. If you just blindly, okay, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 answers, so I can just choose this. If you choose that, and if you pass with a minimal score, if you got the batch with a minimal score, and you will not have anything in your mind, so you will say, I have completed this, but I don't remember. That means you are saying, though you study, you are not capable of remembering the things. Yes, even normal job interview, what you do is like, if you put it something in your CV, we will ask question from that. If you say something in the CV and if you say you don't know, that means, yeah, I studied, but I don't remember. I don't have the capacity of remembering the things I studied. That's what you are saying. That's what we always say when you prepare CV. No, put only you know. Don't just fill it. Even if you know one technology in very deep level, you are eligible for a job, right? So the same thing. Just if you are completing a module, make sure you know the knowledge. Otherwise, no point of completing. What's the point of having? Yeah, then having these more badges, colorful badges in your Trailhead profile, it will give you some good feeling, but that's not going to work for you, right? So you should have badges, knowledge, as well as make sure you learn something. If you don't understand anything, you can search it. You will have lots of documents to explain the same topic, right? So this is something I explain now. So after starting as a Salesforce journey, you can do your certification track. There are 25, not 25, 30 plus certifications there. So you can choose your basic certification first and do it. Then you can go ahead and do it. So your first certification will cost you $200. So now worry about that. If you join to a company, your company is going to pay. And as a community, we also do give the certification vouchers, those who complete the certification trainings and pass in our mock exam. We do give a free vouchers to do. So there are some exams for $400. And the last exam, technical architect, is $6,000. You have to go to US to do it. Nobody in Sri Lanka so far hold it. There are some Sri Lankans, but those who migrated, they have the certifications, technical architect. None of the Sri Lankan hold, but that also companies can pay. But if you show your skill and come to that position, yeah, because up to that level, nobody stay here. That's another problem here. So that is kind of a journey. You can target like the way you plan your bachelor's, master's, doctorate, postdoctorate. You can have the professional hierarchy also. That is very important. So academic, if you are going for a lecturer or academic track, your academic qualifications make sense. After some time, your professional qualifications only going to give you the hits. Okay, so these are something. So this is normally we say, in order to get into the Salesforce developer as an industry, you don't need to have anything. You can be a beginner, or you know the knowledge from other industry, or you can business. You have IT company, or you are planning to make IT company. Anyone can get into the industry. This is just a summary. Why I ran is I don't want to spend lots of time on the same thing which we normally discuss all the times in our meeting. Yeah. So this is the key parts. We are going to enter Salesforce basics. So see, when I'm explaining, I will explain the technical way in the Salesforce basics, but the listeners, right? Your purpose, you have to receive the message, whatever I am saying, you have to visualize. If you already have an idea in your mind, whenever I'm explaining something, just focus on how you can make it for your design. Because here, like, not everyone have the same design. right? So I will not, since it's a competitions, I will not give you, ask you ideas and give you the model, nothing, everything, design, development, everything should be handled by you. Whenever we are going through each and every topic, make sure you are getting the knowledge and you can get the idea how you can make it work for your product, which you are going to build, what's the idea you have it in your mind, right? So this is, if you have participated in our sessions before, this will be the repeating slide anyway, but still for the new beginners, I need to explain this, right? So in Salesforce, we have two types of development, declarative and programmatic, right? So if I talk about the Hackforce point of view, you have like 2 months to build your product, right? So if a path is very difficult for you, keep it for the enhancements once you're done with your main core product, right? So you can be a good programmer, but if you feel like you will take long time to learn the coding and do it, then make sure you are completing your system whatever the way you can complete, then do it at the enhancement. So you will be free, right? The system, basic system is done, so you can add it. So whenever I'm explaining the techniques, so make sure just because it's there, you should not use it, or if it is required for you, only use it. Right. So whatever the working IT product, right? Any system, it can be a standalone system, mobile app, whatever the IT system, you need to focus on three things: user interface, right? So user interface is very important. So if you are doing the system for your assignment or for your use, or you are giving for someone or for your client or for the competitions, so the user interface is very important because that's going to give you the first impression. There are lots of competitions. So I have been for the judge for the lots of competitions. So the function in the back end, it will work, but UI will throw lots of errors and stuff. So when we look at the code base and all, they have done the system very well, but the UI connected part, because what we do normally, we do the UI separately, we do the backend separately. So just before the previous day, just one day before the competition only, we will check it. Okay, both can, well, we can connect both together and we will connect. Then UI will work separately, backend will work separately. It will not work as a function. So we are not going to give you like a full mark. The system is not. Is this a workable system? We'll say no. So huge amount of marks is going there, right? So don't do that mistake. So plan it out and make it simple, right? So whenever do a UI development, mean complete the relevant functionality. Otherwise, no point of keeping it. Otherwise, because Salesforce is a new technology for you, right? So don't take those kind of risks. It's not hard. But luckily, if you are not going to custom code development, Salesforce has its own UI. So the point and click view, you will have on UI. The moment you log into a system, you will have a UI, right? So what you can do is you can build your system and everything with a point and click development, and you can see, like if you have 4 members and you can give one person, okay, just go for, just try this custom UI and stuff. Don't spend lots of time only in custom UI development. That's going to be a trap for you. Right? So in Salesforce, we have 2 types of development: declarative, programmatic. You can design your UI in point and click. So today we will have in a workshop, we are going to develop Salesforce Standard Ui. So all of you going to work. That's why I asked you to bring laptops, right? So all of you going to do some UI, so Standard Ui, and programmatic way. You can do the Salesforce UI development using Visual Force pages, like the Aura components, Lightning Web components. If you just know the JavaScript and Java Salesforce coding, it's not hard, because the same syntax we are going to use. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java, the similar syntax, same syntax, with the minor changes only. We are going to use it in Salesforce. We do call with a different name because we have, since Salesforce is a multi-tenant architecture, we have to impose some of the limitations, right? So we can't keep it unlimited functionality. So because of those limitations, they have modified some of the syntax, some of the coding technique, but almost 90% it's same. So if you know Java, if you know JavaScript, CSS, HTML, developing in Salesforce is easy. If you don't want to do the UI development, that's fine. They have the native UI. They already built the UI for you. You just have to upload the logo, change the colors if you want to do the branding, right? So the second important part is data model. So data model, it's again something you should not need to worry about Salesforce things, because as a beginner, you are not going to do any major database changes, right? So the declarative way, you can create objects, fields, relationship. Objects means table, right? The way in SQL you are creating table, you have to code it and create table. But in Salesforce, you just have to click on the new button. There's a button called new object. Just click on it and you can able to create a new table with a visual way. So you don't need to worry about anything else, right? It's a wizard, so it will guide you. So we are going to create the data model. So today's session, we are going to cover the data model and UI. So we are going to create it. Right, the fields relationships also similar. So in the programmatic way also you can do it. So metadata API, REST API, bulk API. If your idea is having the external system involved, then you can do the integration, and you can through the API callouts you can do the data model or database related changes through the code. If your idea is not related to the not connecting to other systems, you can go with that. Anyway, if you are doing the programmatic way also, it's not hard, because we have the specific documentations, materials, everything in order to do it in programmatic way. So we are going to have the separate workshops. So today we are going to cover only data model and UI. So next, then point and click development. If you have time, if you have complete your activities on time, you can do the point and click development. Otherwise, we can do it in second workshop. And the code-based development also, you'll have a workshop, right? So no worry about that. So you can do it. And the main core is business logic, right? So business logic is important. See, in Salesforce, most of the things are already pre-built. That means if you are doing a system, we will expect you have to do some functions, right? So in order to do the function, you have to use the business logic. So we have the automation tools where you can do the point and click development. And we have classes, Apex classes, Apex coding to do the development in the code-based development, right? So it can be a declarative way, it can be a programmatic way. Let's say when a user is registered, when a customer is raising a complaint on a telecommunication network, the telecommunication company is sending the response, right? Hey, we received your case. So this kind of requirement, you can do it in point and click. No need to do the code development, right? Simple, if this is a condition, do this. Or if else. If it is a logic is very clear, you can do it with automation tool. No need to write code, right? So we will be seeing when we are studying the automation tool section. But if the logic is complex, which is required multiple data from multiple table and multiple external systems, so likewise, if the logic is complex, then definitely you will need to do for the programmatic. What I mean complex is not the simple if else. It's not the actual complex, right? The native language, anyway, you are doing the code base, right? So that's the thing. So don't take it as a complex. It's not a complex, so the logic I'm saying. So in your assignments or university, or if you're school, if you are in school, so whatever the assignment or projects you are doing, you will be doing a simpler system, right? But industry is not like that. That's why in a small project we are having architect, leads, and developers likewise, right? So that is a complex system actually. So at your level, whatever the things, like if you are capable of getting an innovative idea and doing a complex system right now, then that is something great thing. So last time the winning team has used most of the features in Salesforce. Because of the COVID, we gave extension. What they did, they used that extension also to learn something and add on. That's what they could able to score it. So you are aware, right? The Hackforce'21 winners are from school students, right? So the team of 3 school students and 1 undergraduate. So what they did it like every extension they added some add-ons. So the judges very impressed with them, not for their age or nothing like that. Even the time, even the listed functionalities is so much, they can't even do it within the time. But somehow the judges voluntarily gave them time. We said, no, you should not do it like that. But I just said, no, they did something, let's hear, since they are the last team. So they kind of inspired with that. So, but it doesn't mean you also have to use all the Salesforce functionalities and forming a logicless system, right? If it's really required, only go for it. So that's up to your idea, the whatever idea you take. But we have even the capacity, if your product is really working product, we can publish to the App Exchange where you can even earn some money. Right, the way we have a Google Store and all, we have App Exchange, so we can publish our product. Last time we couldn't able to do because the time they developed the system, Salesforce also developed a similar system and release it. So they were working on the vaccine related area, and Salesforce released the vaccine cloud. So after that, we can't actually make their product as sell their product, right? Because, but it's a parallel thing. They gave the time they gave the idea and they start on the development, there was not, the web cloud was not there. But the time they complete, the cloud is already there. So that's why we couldn't able to make it. But if you have a really workable product, we can help you to reach up to that level also. Right. Okay, so this is a sample UI. So anyway, when I'm doing the specific area, I'll be showing the UI. So this is a sample UI. The moment you just register your developer org, you will see a screen like this, right? You can have app. The dream house is an app. So you can create an app and you can add whatever the data required for the app. So if it is properties, it will bring the information of the properties from the system. So brokers, contract, likewise, right? So when you click on one record, so this is a one property record, which we can have some of the field, whichever most frequently. Let's say we have 100 field in the page layout, right? Some of the field information is really required. If it is a hospital, the patient's information, the patient's current stage, or some critical informations there, right? Or not all the informations are required. So those critical information, we can keep it in highlight panel. And other information, we can keep it in details. Likewise, everything, this entire page you can build without writing code. The button and all related function you can do without writing code, with a point and click only. Right? But if you require something which needs to give more functionalities, and you can do your custom button with a custom code, custom page, and you can make that button available in this page. That's also possible. You can combine the standard feature and custom features. So standard means it's not like 100% standard you should be keeping. Custom means, okay, you have to be custom anyway. So, but you can display the custom components in the standard feature, standard page. Right? That's you can do it. So this is the area you are going to develop, which is a built-in tool. But if you are comfortable in VS Code and other tool, you can use anything, right? Otherwise, you can use this Salesforce Developer Console to code. And how we are going to use it and all, as I said, we will cover in the coding workshop, not this workshop. This is just the introduction I'm giving. But this workshop, we are going to see the data model and UI in detail. Rest of the things, I'm just giving introduction, right? Yeah, so this is time for the first org. With the interest of the time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover some more data model thing, and you are going to create your first org with the support of us anyway, and you are going to develop a system. We are going to develop a system, and you all have to do it. But those who are having laptop, at least I think 2 people in online participants, everyone should have the laptop, I believe. So these in-person participants, at least 2 laptops per table. If you have, you can do it. Anyway, that's up to you, right? If most people in your team, if you have 4-member team, if 2 people are getting expertise today, then rest others can learn. If 1 person getting, that's up to you. Right? I can't comment on it, but up to you, right? So that's you can decide. Okay. So let's get into the workshop way. So what we are going to build today is a demo system. So last time we did a session in the university, right? Those who participated in that session, you can see the same screen, but that time we didn't let you to develop because of the time concern. So today you all are going to develop this, right? So that's the nature of workshop, right? So what we are going to do is we have customer. So this is a telecommunication server provider. So you can think any of the mobile network, Airtel, Dialog, Mobitel, anything, anyone. So they will have a customer, right? They will have millions of customers, right? The customer will have a connection. Oh, customer can have multiple connections, right? So the one customer can have multiple connections. You can have multiple mobile phones, multiple Wi-Fi connections, likewise, right? The connection can have bills, right? So if a service company is providing extra things, so anyway, the bill will be connected to the customer as well as connections, right? Let's say you have a mobile, so you can have a bill for your connection as well as the bill is will be sending to the customer. So it will be connected to that, right? So every connection you can make payment. You are making payment for the connections, right? So if you can even pay once a month or twice a month or once in 2 months, likewise, right? So the connection will have the payment. So you can raise a case for connections, or you can raise the case for any of your service. So the network is not good, your service is not good. Likewise, you can raise any case without having the connection, or you can have the case for this connections, right? So this is a data. I'll just try to understand, because I'm going to guide you and you are going to build the system. I'm not going to build the system for you, right? So make sure you are understanding this system clearly, right? The customer. So you can make your innovative idea. You can say, no, I want to add one more object like this. That's up to you. I'm okay with that, right? If you have enough time, you can do this. That's up to you. So innovations we always welcome, but the basic thing you have to complete, right? So this is a data model we are going to build, right? Okay, let's get into the theory, right? So first of all, you should understand the difference between data and metadata. Why it's important? Let's see. Like even in a real system, or you are building a system for your Hackforce 4 members team or 5 members team, you are building a system, right? So you can, so not everyone can't stay in a one house for all 3 months and do the system, right? You will be staying in your own house and you will be building. So you have to merge your code, right? So this topic is very important, because the last time also we faced the same issue. Like when you are working in multiple locations, when you connect together, don't say like you say one person developed something, second person developed something. If you don't know how to migrate the code between the org, you will be doing everything in a single laptop. Right? That's a repetitive work. So don't do like that. When you are dividing your task, you can divide and you can make the components move to one computer without doing any much work, right? So first of all, you should understand data versus metadata. So what is data? Data are the records, right? If you are building a system, so if you are building a university system, obviously university system is not an innovative system unless you have any extra features, right? So that's why I'm taking this example. Otherwise, you will say you can develop a system like that and say you say this is as example and we developed and you have to accept, don't do like that. So so if you are doing a system for university system, students record, students details, lecturers details, course details, those kind of records are the data, right? So when we need to move the records, there can be a situation where you have to move the records from one org to another org. So in real industry, we are not going to develop a system in a live system. Let's say a system is working system, we are not going to do it, the changes in the same production. That means a live system. We can't do it, right? We have to do it in a developer system, and we have to test and make sure it will not break any of the existing feature, as well as the new feature also will work. Then only we can move the code component to the data components to the production, right? So let's say if you are working as a team and you want to move the data from one laptop to another laptop, if it is a data records, then you have to go for data tools. That means we have data import export wizard. So we can import the data from one org and we can export the data from one org and we can import it to another org. That is the standard Salesforce tool. You can use it. Otherwise, you can use data loader. There are lots of tools, Workbench. There are lots of tools to do the data. So don't try to create the data in multiple logs multiple times, just use those tools. Metadata. What is metadata? The configuration. You have modified the database. You have added some more tables, some more fields to the database. And you have to move it from one computer to another computer. So that's you have to go for deployment tool. Either you can connect two environments and you can use change set, or you can use Ant. And this is a deployment tool where you don't need to connect two environments. You can just retrieve the package and store it, right? Those kind of tool names, if you forget and if you ask that time, we will say, that's no worry. But make yourself comfortable with this and use these tools to be smart and save some time. Don't spend lots of time on doing the same thing again and again at multiple computers. I did it in this computer, this works, and now this is not working here. We don't want to hear these kind of things at the final stage, right? So do those things, you can use things. So you have to understand the difference between data and metadata and how you can move that within the right. How you can create data model. That means how you can create table, how you can create a field, right? There are three ways you can create and play around with data model. One is object manager, another one is schema builder, another one is code. So obviously this is just a presentation. You can just see some circle and scale. You will not get more information here. I'll switch to the environment developer org, and I'll show you how we can do it. Right. So hope you all can see my screen, right? Yeah. So this is the screen. Yeah. So here in a Salesforce org. So the moment you create a Salesforce developer org, you will land to the screen like something like that. So every workshop is say 2 points. Whenever you log into a Salesforce developer org or any of the Salesforce org, you should remember 2 points. Otherwise, you will be lost. So when you go out from your home, you should know how to get back to home. Likewise, you should know the path when you lost somewhere, right? So likewise, you should know 2 points. One is this gear icon, right? I hope all can see. Who is over sitting at the back? Is it visible for you? Yeah. So the gear icon, and another one is the 9 dot. Right? These 2 points are very important points. So the gear icon, so when you click on the gear icon and click on the setup, right, you will be landing to this screen. This is the developer mode screen. So as a developer, when you wanted to do some changes to the system, whatever the page you are, you can click on the gear icon and click on the setup. You will be landing this page. So here you can access the configuration part here. So whatever the required tool you can pick. If you want to play around database, you can go to the object manager and do, right? So if you want to go back to the user mode, that means you want to see the records and you want to see the user's view. You have to go to the 9 dot. So this is the user's view. Anyway, why developer need to go to the user's view? When you develop something, you have to test it, right? So you can't say I developed, so it will work. I don't want to test it. That's not a statement, right? You have to test it. So when you do something, when you add an object or when you create an app or something, you have to get it here. So here you can go to the tables. That means hereafter we will use the term objects. So table in a database is objects in Salesforce. So the objects, and you can see the records. In a developer org, when you sign up in the developer org, you will get some set of records also in order to play around. So that's also they will be loading some data and giving you the system to play around. So likewise, you can check. So now since we are studying about data model, I'm going here. So this is the object manager. So that means object manager. So as I mentioned, object is the table. So wherever you are wanted to make a change in database, you have to go to the object manager. So these are the objects, right? You can see here the type. So we will be studying these things, right? So here you can create objects, right? New object, and you can work on it, right? So this is the schema builder. Okay, I think I'll show you. Yeah, this is a schema builder. So those who are university students and those who done some assignment, you might have drawn this kind of diagram for your assignment. Here you don't need to draw it, Salesforce will draw for you. So whatever the object you are choosing here, it will display here, and with the relationship. With the relationship, it will display here. So here also you can see your object model, and you can select and unselect the objects required for you. That means the table and the relationship and the fields you can see. And here also you can modify, and object manager also you can modify whatever required changes you are going to do. So you don't need to spend lots of time on drawing or anything. So everything is here. You can just go here and verify whether your idea you correctly developed or not. You can have an idea, you might have developed something else, right? So that's you can verify by going to the schema builder, right? So to be honest, unless you are going for the high complex design, you don't need to do anything with the code base table creation stuff. But obviously, if you are doing a development, you have to access your database from your using the code. So there we are using SQL, right? SQL, those who familiar with SQL, you can learn SQL. Almost syntax, everything similar. There will be small changes, right? So that's the only thing. Other than that, you can learn everything here, right? Yeah. So that's how you can interact with your data model in Salesforce, right? As I said, we are going to build data model for the particular object. I show the diagram, right? So we are going to do it. So whenever we learn something, after that we are going to do it, and you all have to create it. So I think we will be having a so after few slides we will be having the break. So that break you can create the system, as well as then you are going to do it by yourself. I mean, with the guidance of us, right? So the object model. So when I take you to the object model, you saw there's something called type, right? The type is a standard, custom, system, external, big object. There are lots of type of objects there, right? So for the beginners, you should focus on standard and custom. So standard in the term itself, it's saying it's a standard. That means, so when you are creating, when you are signing up a developer, or as I said, if you are building a system for a client who is in a sales cloud, so you are purchasing a sales cloud and you are modifying. So the moment you are doing it, there are some objects, there are some tables already created in the system. Those are standard, right? You didn't do anything, but you have objects, right? If you need to create some more object for your custom solution, you are creating the custom object. So the first thing, you can learn this for the competition, or you can learn this to be a Salesforce developer any way. You have to keep one thing on mind. If there's already a feature, you should use it. Just you are purchasing Sales Cloud means there's a Sales Cloud features you require. The Sales Cloud feature exists, so use it. If we can't use it, if it is not usable for you, so you need something totally different, then go for custom. So if you are creating a data model, if already object is there, you have to see whether I can use any of the existing object or not, right? It's like in your home, you have 4 tables and you just need to change the tablecloth, but you are saying, okay, I'll buy a table with a tablecloth. That's decision, right? You just need to do a small modification. Instead of that, you are purchasing something new. That is totally waste of effort. Right. And all, so in every org we have some limitations, right? Salesforce also, you can have 800 custom objects likewise. So if you are going for custom object for everything, you are not using the standard feature, that is one loss, and you are about to hit the limit, right? You are just working towards the limit. That is unwanted. If you have something at home, you have to use it. If you can't only, you have to buy it outside. That's a normal decision we make it. So when it comes to a system, when you are developing a system, we make the mistake. So those there are standard objects, we always go for custom object. That's, you have to answer it. Right? If you say, this is my data model, this is how I build it, the first questions they will ask from you is, why did you choose this object? Why did you decide to create a new object? You should have an answer, right? So it doesn't mean, I'm not saying don't create a custom object, go with the standard like that. You should able to say, this is the reason I went for this decision. That is very important, right? So if your mom is asking you, are you saying, I'm going for a workshop, she's asking why you are going for a workshop, you can't say, I don't know the reason I'm going, right? You should have a reason for anything, right? Whatever you are doing, you should have a reason. Without reason, if you are doing something, that's like, you are not in the control of you. You're kind of controlled by someone, your remote is with someone else, like that, right? So the similar thing, the system, whatever decision you are making, you should able to reasonable. Why I did this? Even if you write a single line of code in the industry, your tech lead going to ask, why did you write that? So that you should not say, okay, I'll delete it. That's not the answer. Why did you write that? Mean you should say, right, this is the reason. If it is acceptable, they will accept. Otherwise, they will say, no, this is wrong, change it like that. Right? So that's something we have to decide. So when you are designing a system, you have to make sure you are utilizing the standard features, standard objects. So there are one more thing. There's one more thing. This is a common mistake everyone makes. So let's say in our model, right? We'll go to the model. In our model, I need to store customers' information, right? So we are building a system for the telecommunication service provider. We want to store the customers' information. So first of all, what I need to do, I need to go and see the object manager, what other object exists, whether I can use it or not, right? Anyway, if you all are new, you will be learning Trailhead. You will be sharing Trailhead modules related to this, and you will be learning by yourself. So in order to have the proper understanding. So since I can't ask you to learn and after that continuing the session, so I'll say. So there are something called accounts, contacts. So those standard object in the system, right? So the contact record we used to store the context, I mean the font, like a font contact. You can store first name, last name, email, phone number, with the validation and with all the features, that object is there. If you are creating a new object called customer, what you are doing, that already there's an object called contact, which all the features with all the field validation, everything, and you are going to replicate the same thing in the name of customer, right? So these things you should avoid. Right. So you are going to do like internal system, or this is an internal system. So you can decide which object you are using. So if there's a standard object, you have to go for it. So customers, you can store it in contact, whatever the information you require, that contact records has. You can go to the object and see the fields. I can use this or not, right? So if you can, go for it. So this is something last time also we noticed people missed. So what happened, we will have the pre-evaluation. That time judges will say, no, this is, you have to change. Then they will get tense. Oh, I need to change that. And it's unwanted tension, right? So when you decide and you go ahead, just go ahead properly. Then that will be saving some time for you. So that is, and custom object are the object we can create. So one more thing we have to keep in mind, the standard object, you can create new custom fields. Just because it's a standard existing table, it's not like you can't add field. You can add new field. You can add custom fields to the standard objects. If you are using the contact object, so obviously this data model is written for the US data model, but in order to use it in Sri Lanka, you need to show the NIC number of the customer. So for that, you need to create a custom field. You can't say, see, I need the NIC number field, so I'm going for a new object. That's not a valid reason, because you can create custom fields in a standard object, already existing table. You can add your own fields, right? So that's, you can do it. So custom object, obviously, you can create custom field. The system object, you can use it in code, but you can't do any update. That is storing the data model. So likewise, when you create a record, it's capturing the who created the record and when it's created. These are system fields. So system information. And there are some system objects there to store some of the functionalities. When you do the automation tool, so I said, right, if this, do this, that tool is already there. The tool is actually a data. The tool should have actually data model, which should run in the backend. In the front, we will just say the screen and buttons. There should be a function behind that, right? Those functions related objects will be a system object. We don't have visibility. We can't see those objects, but we can access those objects in whenever required. So this is at this level, it's not required for you. When you be a Salesforce developer, when you work on the actual thing, you might need to access the system object. Even if your idea, when you do get the idea and if you want to develop, when you go in that path, you might be able to need to access the system object. System object you can access by the code and you can do the update, right? For this moment, don't confuse. Today we are going to do only standard object, custom object, right? So these decisions, right? So those who join online, you can give the answers in chat if you're comfortable. Those who are here, you can give the answers here. But yeah, so we are going to map. We are going to map. So my object model, I need customer, payment, bill, connection, and case. So we are going to map which object we can use. So not everyone. This is not the first time for everyone, right? At least some people already studied Salesforce might be there. So you can give the answer for this, and we can map it. We can map it and go ahead. So you can create once you create your account in your system, right? Okay, so first question is very simple. So which object you will be using for the customer to store the customer details? Loud. Loud, say loud. Which object? Customer information, I need to store it. Which object you will use it in Salesforce? I just said it, I talked about this and he came to give the stats. You have to say it. Which object? Anyone from online? You can share in chat, or you can unmute and talk. I just talked. Multiple time I mentioned. You should say context. Okay. So anyway, that's not your fault, but when you read the Trailhead modules, you will understand. So accounts means like kind of organizations, like Yarl Salesforce Ohana account, commercial banks account. So they will have multiple contexts can work on a single account. That's how the account and context relationship. Accounts will be the organization. Context will be the users or customers or contacts or students, your lecturers, whosoever, whatever they're interacting with human, it will be contact, right? There are multiple techniques. You can use one object for multiple purpose. So that's we can do. So after this discussion, we will have a break. So you can have your snacks and you can create your own and you can create the object model. So let's practice. So what do you think for payment object? If you don't know Salesforce data model, it's hard to answer. Okay, so the payment bill connection, we will go for custom objects because we can map it, but it will be too complex if we are mapping, right? So when you learn about the Trailhead module, you will understand. For the case and customer, we will go for standard object. So customer will go for contact object, case, their object called case, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to have a 15 minutes break, right? So those who participated in person, the snacks, everything ready. So you can have the snacks and refresh. And then we are going to create the Trailhead account and develop org, those who are having laptops, right? And you are going to create this data model. Then we will go for the next step. So those who are joined online, you can have the snacks at your home, and you can create, we will be sharing the links to create the developer org. So you can do it. And if you have any issue, we can discuss in this chat, or you can drop us a message in WhatsApp. We will arrange one volunteer to guide you, right? You can create, and then you can create this data model for the system I suggested. So I'm going to keep the screen here. So we are going to create the objects only, not the fields. And we will be sharing the links to create the model, and we will connect back in 15 minutes. Okay. I forgot to resume recording. Yeah. So let's say the commercial bank, right? So the commercial bank, they are creating a new system, right? So just because they are creating new system, they cannot abandon the existing system, and they can't migrate all the records from the previous system to new system immediately, right? You can imagine the transactions, customer base, it's high complex, right? So what they will do, they will maintain both the system. So in that case, some of the cases, the old customer is coming to the bank and asking about some transaction detail he has done long back. So that record stored in old system. So what our new system should do this kind of situation, they should call this all system records, and they should find the particular user's record in all system and give it to the new system. So the integration techniques, right? So here what we can do is, we can either load the data to new system and all system, or else we can keep the data to the all system and access. If we are loading the records to the new system, and we should know, so what is the ID in the new system, what is the model, data model can be different from all system and new system. How we can identify this record in the other system? There should be a unique identifier, right? Again, if we are loading the system or loading the data to the new system, let's say the customer information should be there in both the system, right? Everyone agree. The transaction information, not necessarily we should have it in both the system, right? Because the customer information, if the customer is still active customer, anytime we need their information, so loading the detail to the new system also makes some sense for us. Loading the old transaction to the new system, it's not required, because they are not going to ask for the old transaction all the time. In that case, what we can do, we can connect these two systems, to object from these two systems with the relationship, right? So object from the two systems. So old environment, new environment, they have the data structure. We are going to connect the data, same table from the old system and the table from the new system. We are going to connect it, right? That's we are doing with the relationship. So those time we can do the external lookup, indirect lookup. So if one external lookup in the sense, yeah, I don't want to go much in detail, but imagine like actual data is in all environment, but we are kind of having an intermediate structure. So we are loading some of the information to the new system. Based on that, we are trying to achieve the connect all system, right? So if your idea and if your development is going to that level, we will have a separate session on that, because I need to give more information on that if I'm going to talk much detail, right? So many-to-many relationship. Many-to-many relationship, all of you might heard about it. So when we need many-to-many relationship, we need to have a junction object. So what is many-to-many relationship? One student can have multiple courses. one courses can have multiple students, right? So we have to have the courses table. We can't have like if you have a course called IT, we can have like IT ABC, IT XYZ. Likewise, we can't keep the same cost record repeat for each and every student, right? So that is like what we call, we did the database optimizing part, and we cleaned up the record is clean. Courses mean the course details only there. Students mean students detail only there. So they need to have a junction object which just to connect students for the courses. Right? So the same concept in Salesforce also. If you wanted to have many-to-many relationship, you should have a junction object. So course student, student course, likewise you can create and you can connect. That's totally fine and allowed. So normally when you have the junction object, we normally go for lookup relationship, right? You can have it because it's multiple. So parent child, you can't have it. So we can have it. So that's kind of decision we have to make it. So this master detail and lookup only the base of all the relationship. That's only 2 types available, and the rest of the things are special types. So last one is hierarchical. So hierarchical, why we have the hierarchical as a special relationship in Salesforce is like we have role hierarchy, right? So in Salesforce, the one of the special feature is like as I said, when we create all, we have to define the security, right? Which record who can see, that's we have to define. If we are developing a system in a native language, you have to develop that security from the scratch. Anyway, you have to develop. Right? You can't have a system which is open to everyone. If the way you are seeing your Facebook account, if everyone else can see, there's no privacy. Right? You can't have it. So any of the system should be private. So in Salesforce, what we have it, what we do with role hierarchy is, if a user, if an employee is working, he can only see his record. That's also we have settings. So we have created object. Let's say we have created payment object, right? So when we create the payment object, we don't know, we just create. But there is something security model behind that. We have to decide, we are giving the access, direct access for the payment record for everyone or only for the owner of the record, right? So we can keep it private, public, likewise. I don't want to touch that detail because that is also again a huge area. We can do multiple sessions on that area, right? Likewise. But for the moment, just remember that we are tightening the security of the object. So payment object, we tighten. So when we tighten, what will happen? If the person is creating the record only, he can see the record. So forget about payment, let's go for case object. Let's say if the owner of the case or whosoever created the case only, they can see it. See the case record, complaint record, right? So others can't see it. But if that employee goes, what will happen? But if the employee is working fine or not, we have to monitor. So due to some other consideration, we have the role hierarchy. If we make someone as a manager of that particular employee, whatever the records that particular employee owned or created, the manager can see. Right? Let's say person A is a customer care representative. He is creating cases. So if make it secure, only he can see his record, or whatever the record, he is the owner, only he can see the record. If we make person B as a manager of the person A, that means if it is a hierarchical relationship in the role hierarchy, if we assign, then the B can see all his record, all records of A. Likewise, if person C is coming on top of B, then he can see all the B's record, A's record, and his record. Likewise, for that kind of role hierarchy is there. So that kind of data security dependency, we are using this hierarchical relationship. This is possible only for user object. User only can have manager, likewise, because we are giving the special access using this hierarchical relationship. So as developers, and you are getting idea and you are going to develop, so if you have a system and if your system security is important for your idea, then you have to concern about that, right? If the idea doesn't need that much secure system, then totally fine, right? So if it is required security, you have to think about it. Anyway, as we promised, so when we go ahead with other workshops, we do have the special workshops which we didn't even decide the topic because we are waiting. When you submit your ideas, whatever useful for you guys, we can make it as a topic and give it, right? Otherwise, if none of the team is working in IoT, no point of doing an IoT session, right? Likewise. So that we will do it. So no worry about that. At the moment, we have to make a decision, master detail or lookup. So that's what we are going to do it now. Again, this is activity. Why we have lots of activity? It's like you should know, you should understand. If I'm just talking and doing and go, you will be listening. Okay. When you go home, when other person call, hey, look at this, then everyone say, no, I didn't get it. You get it. Likewise, everyone will be blaming each other. Then end of the day, you will get stressed, and you don't want this competition at all. That's what's going to happen, right? So that's what you have to get worth your time. So we are going to do it. Now let's start from customer case. What do you think? What kind of relationship will work for customer case? Let's say. So focus only master detail and lookup. Yeah, any idea? Online participants, you can mention in chat to unmute and ask. Here, I'm not going to leave you guys. You all have to speak, right? What kind of relationship? Okay, let me ask. Okay, raise your hand if you think like master detail will work. Raise. Okay, so I assume you all are going for lookup. I will not ask the second question and see no one raising. No answer. If you raise your hand, I will think it's master detail. Otherwise, I will think it's lookup. That's the punishment. So let's see. Okay. So you all are thinking lookup. So I said, whenever we make a decision, I am going to ask why you made the decision. Now say why you made the decision. Why you are thinking it's lookup. Say someone. You all are new. Nobody knows Salesforce up to that level. We all know. Nobody going to laugh or nothing. Just learning, right? Okay. My first question. Will there be a case without customer? Do you have any robot to create? Robot also, if you're just creating on behalf of you, again, you are the customer, right? Will there be any case without customer? Then why did you all go for lookup? You can make any, see, in your exams, if you ask if proof A is equal to B, there are students who can prove A is not equal to B. If you make it, that is also right if you give the valid answer. If you make a valid answer, I will accept. Okay. So first is wrong, everyone, right? Second question, customer payment. Right? Again, same thing. Without customer, we can have it. Yeah. Customer bill. Yeah. Same thing. Customer connection. Same thing. So as I mentioned, we can have only two master detail relationships. To only two object, one object can be a parent for two times. Now here we can see this is 4 times we are going to make it. So here we have to make it a custom decision. What are the object must have these things, right? And we have to omit rest of the things to make it look up. That's how we have to make it. That's why I said, like, though they can have the master detail. We should make the decision based on the limits and all. Just because they can have the master detail, we can't give for everyone, right? So likewise, so connection bill, connection payment. So if you look at like it's like without connection bill cannot be there, without connection payment cannot be there. Likewise there. So if you look at this system, the customer payment, customer bill, connection payment, and we have customer also connected to connection. Listen carefully. I'm confused. I'm going to confuse you. So if a customer connect to the connection, and if we make customer connection as the master detail relationship, can we make connection as a parent for bill and payment? Right. So the customer will be grandparent. Right. In a way, our requirement is we can achieve our requirement. Right. So this is why I gave this requirement. Is like I want you to think in multiple angles. I don't want to say this is like, and it's like in the exam papers, right? They will teach 1 + 1 is equal to 2, and in the exam paper they will give something complex. So that situation should not happen. That's what we are just training to think in multiple ways, right? So someone can think in a different way and come up with a different relationship plan. It doesn't mean that is wrong. That's also, this is the way I'm thinking, right? The way someone else thinking is different. They also come up with a design, with a different design, but that will be right design. That's possible, right? So don't follow my way. I'm just explaining how I'm thinking, right? So you can think in a different way. At the end, if our system is a good functional system, that will be fine, without any limitations or exception. So after going in the middle, if we struck, we can't move ahead. That is the worst part. Other than that, if we can achieve a workable system, that's fine. Not necessarily to think the way I'm thinking, but just an exercise I'm doing this, right? So if we make customer connection as the master detail, and if we make bill and the payment as a parent child to the connection, so customer is a grandparent. So a customer can have case now, because he can't have 4, but he can have 2. Likewise, you can decide the things. But anyway, customer, we are using contact object. Case, also standard object. They already have a relationship, standard relationship. So we don't want to create it. So as I mentioned, if you have a standard feature, we can use it. So customer and case already have a relationship. So we don't want to create anything. Rest of the people, we are going to create the relationship. So I'm not going to write it in the slide. I hope you all got it in your head. So create now. You can even end up with a different way. That's totally fine. As I said, the way you are thinking, it's welcome. Right? You don't need to follow what I am saying. You can come up with a different design. Now, this time, you all are going to create the relationship. If the relationship is already there, you are going to leave it. Otherwise, you are going to create it. Right? So I'm giving another 10 minutes of time, because it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, right? Okay, 15 minutes time, you can create, right? Now, where's our organizing committee volunteers? Please support these people. Okay, I think they went to get your next meal. I'll send the support volunteers to you, but don't ask what to do and don't follow their steps blind, right? They will say just go create. You will not learn it. You will forget after going home, right? That's the only reason I'm asking you to do first. So online participant, just create it and just create online participant, create the relationship between these 2 objects. So we are going to connect after another 10-15 minutes, but if you have any blockers, you can put it in chat. So you are going to create the relationship between the objects. We have it. And if the relationship already exists, we are not going to create. If not, we are going to create. Right? So you can choose master detail, lookup. So the way I suggested, or the way you feel it will fit.
The way.
Okay, one more mistake I made it. Nobody asked me how to create a relationship. You all know that, right? So that's why you are not asking me. Okay. Okay. So this is very important, how to create a relationship, right? So relationships, nothing. Like relationships also feels, right? So relationships are the fields, right? So how we are, guys, 1 minute, just 2 minutes, let them listen, then you can start with. So relationships are nothing, it's a field, right? So when you wanted to connect two objects, you need to create the fields. So how we are going to create? So are we going to create in both the objects, or are we going to create in one object, right? So if it is a master detail relationship, we can create from the child, we can create a relationship to the parent. Lookup relationship also. So first of all, we have, let me take you the system and show you. So okay, let me go to cases, right? Okay. So here you can see case record, right? Okay, this is the details, right? So we can have, so if this is the record, right? How do you want to have the contact here, right? If someone going to your complaint record, do they need to see the contact details, or someone going to the contact details, contact records, they wanted to see the case detail? How this should be? If someone going to the contact detail, a contact can have multiple cases, right? Or one case can have, a case can have only one contact, right? At the same time, when you are calling to a service provider agent, and you can't say, see, this is me, I'm having this problem, and my friend, he's also having this problem. They will ask, okay, ask your friend to call and report the complaint, right? So you can have one complaint with only one user, but one user can make multiple complaints, right? So in that case, how the record should be stored? The complaint record should have who is the person complaint, right? Listen carefully. The complaint record, the case record should have who is the person complaint, right? So where we want to create the relationship field? So whatever the record, we want to display some information, that particular object should have that field, right? This is how you have to make a decision, right? So case record should display the contact information, mean you have to create the record, the lookup relationship or whatever the relationship on the case record. Then only the contact detail will be displayed. Now we have to display the cases. So when we go to one contact, we have to display the cases belong to that context, right? That is also happening in Salesforce. So I'm going to show how this is happening, right? Okay. So this is the case record. I go at edit. You can say this is the contact, right? So here you can see either I can create a contact or I can select the contact here, right? So the contact is here, right? So I'm just canceling it. Now I'm going to this contact without changing, right? So he can see the cases associated with him here, right? So the contact can have multiple cases. So he can see it in related list. This is the context record page, right? Miss Ross. So Miss Ross related, Miss Ross details. So if you goes to the relators, she can have multiple cases, right? So when you go to the case of the rows, we can just see the rows information, and rest of the things are cases, case records information. Right. So when you create and when you see a look and feel only, you will understand. If I'm showing, okay, it's looking good, that's it, right? So it will confuse you more. So how we are going to make this? So here we have to, in this case, we need the relationship in the case object. So I'm going to, as I said, if you have a standard relationship, we should not do anything. So the case, when you go to the object, particular object you created, you can see lots of list. So the first thing is fields, right? So in that fields, we can have contact. See, they made a lookup relationship. Since already existing lookup relationship, we don't want it to do anything, right? If you want, you can even create a master detail relationship on top of it and use that. But for at the moment, whatever exists, leave it. And if it is not exist only, go for it. That's the rule. Follow that rule. So when you do your actual system, you can make a decision. When we ask like, why did you create a lookup master detail relationship when you already have a lookup? You can say this reason I need master detail. That's acceptable. If you have a reason, whatever you do, it's acceptable. If you don't have a reason, if you are doing it good thing also, this is not acceptable. This is similar to our society, right? So the same thing for applicable for the system also, right? So likewise, you have. So if you want to create something, so which object we want to create now? Customer and connection. Connection is the object you created, right? So connection is the object we created. So when you go to connection, right? So as I mentioned, the moment you only create the object, you will have only system field, right? So you can click on new, right? Again, if your network is bad and if you are not enabled this lightning, it will go to a different page. Contents are same, UI might be different. So here you have to choose. You can see the lookup master details there. So I'm choosing the master detail. Next. So which object you want to be a, which object you want to choose to be a master. So since our customer is contact, I'm choosing contact. Right. Next. Right. So I need to give the field names and all. Let me give us customer. That means the relationship name, how he is related to this object. Right. At the moment, forget about everything else. Just do next, 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 and next. There are lots of things we will study step by step. That's why I'm asking do next step. We will be studying what they asked before when we come to the particular module, right? No point of explaining going here and there and come back, and you will be stressed more. So I'm just skipping at the moment. So now we created the relationship. Likewise, you are going to create the relationship for the rest of the object. So if it is lookup, it will choose the lookup. If it is master detail, choose the master detail, right? And complete the relationship creation. Now the time, I'm giving like 10-15 minutes. So just finish it and let us know. all the field types, everything is there. When you create the field, so now when you went to create the relationship field, you might saw the wizard, right? How many field types there are, everything, right? So the moment you click on a new field, you can able to see the field types, is everything there. You just have to choose only, right? You just have to choose only. But the minus is, if you choose the wrong field, the validations, the format, everything is automatically happen. So if you choose the way I said for the phone number, if you choose the currency field, then it will display as currency, right? So that's, you should know what are the fields. For that, like practically learning all the things and memorizing all the field types and doing the decision is not possible, right? So when you create a field, you can just hold on that screen and choose the right field. When you design, make sure you are choosing the right field for your design, right? That's the only thing you have to do. And the master detail lookup we covered. So auto number, formula field is there, other type of fields there. One more important field, which is actually required for, I included all the important things only for these activities, because no point of asking you to create the text field, but anyway, you will be creating. So next activity kind of like bunch of field you are going to create. So there is a special type of field in Salesforce, which is roll-up summary field, right? So you should pay attention here. So roll-up summary field is a special type of field available in Salesforce. You can save lots of time by using that, because if you want to develop something like roll-up summary field, you have to write all the functionalities from this page. So here it's already there. You just have to choose it. So where you can use the roll-up summary field. That field will be inactive for some of the object and will be active for some of the object. So if you go to a system for the objects we created, so if you just go, it will be inactive for some of the object, it will be active for some of the objects. So this only applicable wherever you have the parent-child relationship, master detail relationship. So what's the roll-up done is, like, let's say you have a customer and you want to know the number of connections the customer has. So you don't need to go to the customer and go to the connection records and see. You can create a roll-up summary field to count the connection, number of connections the customer has. So you can choose the activities like count, sum, min, max. Likewise, you can choose the activities. The moment you click on the roll-up field, and the wizard will guide you what you have to do. So you can give it like count, sum. Like if you are making the roll-up between connection and payment, you can sum it, right? Likewise, sum the amount they have to pay, overdue amount based on some condition. So if the payment status is not paid, just sum this. Although in the customer's relation, in the record, we can display this customer is overdue of this much information. So agent no need to go to each and every page or each and every sections to identify this, get the information. By looking at the one record, they can say, okay, this much connection this customer has, this much active connection customer has. Likewise, you can create a roll-up summary field with the conditions, with the submissions. That's a special feature that is most frequently will be used for all the projects, right? That's, you can do it. So when the object is created, I already show some of the fields already there. Those are standard fields. Field configuration. So in the SQL, when you work with the SQL database, when you create a field, you are specifying what type of field it is, what is the length of the field, and is there any condition, right? Are we masking the data nobody else can see? So likewise, we can, what if there's a default value, or are we having any filter criteria? Filter criteria in the sense, when you have two objective relationship, let's say two object relationship, let's say lookup relationship, right? So we have like cases and the customer in a relationship, right? So when we go and when we create a case, right, we can go to the customer's page and create, or else we can go to the case and choose the customer and create. That time we can decide. So in an organization, if you think like this service provider as an organization, how many contexts will be there and what are the type of contexts will be there, right? So staff details, staff also they can store it in context, right? Customers they can store it in context. The customer care representative they can store it in the context. So let's say like if with everything they will have lots of context, right? So when they wanted to add a context to customers, if the system is displaying all the context, it's hard. So if it is displaying only the possible content, it's easy. That's called filter criteria. So more easily understandable example, I would say, let's say in the university, you are an IT student, right? So the university will provide like hundreds of courses, but IT students can do only, let's say, let's say 20 courses only IT students can do. It's just an example, right? So in that case, when a student wanted to choose a course, if we are displaying all 100 courses versus if we are displaying only the courses a student can take, the 20 courses, it will be, which one will be more user friendly? 20 courses, right? He doesn't need to know what are other courses they are. If he can't choose, no point of displaying that to him, right? So using the filter criteria, when we have the relationship, we can restrict what are the informations we can display, obviously based on some conditions. Without any conditions, we can write it, right? So based on some conditions, we can do it. That is filter criteria. We can have help text. If you go to any of the websites, some of the websites, sometimes you will have a question mark. When you hover, it will say, what is that? Even when you go and create field, there are some help text. And you can hover, it will display the information. Likewise, you can create the help text for the fields you are creating. Right? So for that, you don't need to do anything. The help text, when you create a field, the help text field, you can just display it. That will be appearing in the screen. Right? Likewise, there are lots of configuration you can do. Again, I'm saying just because it's there, don't use it. If it is required for you only, use it. Just because it's the paint is there, or we can't paint it again and again, right? If it's required only, do it. So likewise, so whatever the features, you should know whatever the features available, and you can add some innovative to your solution. Right? The more you are using Salesforce functionality, the more judges will get impressed. Right? This is a workshop, right? I can't do the theoretical base. So it's mostly activities. So now you all are going to create these all fields. Right? This is contact, case, connection, bill. Yeah. So this should be payment, last one. I'll update it anyway. Okay, again, I'm saying this is just the idea. I just got it, right? So some of the fields you might see this is not required. You can remove. Some of the fields you might see, let's add this. You can do it, right? So likewise, you can decide. You can have innovative, but some of the fields really mandatory. So while I prefer to create all the fields, even some of the fields like I didn't specify the field type, so which I'm going to discuss now. Right? So how to decide the field type and what we are going to do next. Right. So for example, let's take the content object. So what do you think? What will be the field type for NIC? And what are the validations we have to give? Right? NIC, a national identity card for Sri Lanka, you can have the number of digits as well as the character will be there. So you can choose the text field or you can decide. So when it comes to content, again the same thing, same logic. If there's a field already, don't create it. Right? We have seen the people go and create the same field again and again. Just because the name is different, you can rename it, right? So don't need to create it. So the name, address, date of birth, everything should be there in the contact object. So if it is there, don't create. So you can have, I have mentioned the rollup, right? Number of connection, number of active connections. So that's, you can create the rollup summary field. Rest of the things you can just straightforward. And the case we can create, and we can have the things. So there are some places we have the third column, right? That means values. So if it is case status means, what kind of field will shoot for case status? Right? Drop. Sure, you are not supposed to answer. Right? Drop down, right? Pick list. Drop down in Salesforce we call pick list. So when you create the pick list, you can specify the value, new, in progress, whole, close. So without any reason, I didn't give any values here. But the reason I gave the specific values, so this is going to be a continuous process, right? When we study the automation tool, I have designed activities based on these values. That's the reason I have to create these values. So it's a continuous process. If you do this only, the next level you can do. So wherever you have values, go for the pick list and understand why pick list. And just when you are doing, just don't just do it. Just you can read it, write the text below, text above, around that, and you can just learn the things, right? This is, as I said, this is just a guidance, and I will touch only the very basic things. So it's the first day, you will be very sad if I say lots of things, and if I just talk and send you home, then you will like, we went somewhere, she just talked something, that's it, right? So it's a workshop, so you have to do. So this is the time for our volunteers. They will support you, and few missing, but existing people will support you. You can start. If any question, you can ask, right? And yeah. So MD mean master detail. Other than that, I didn't use any shortcut. You already created the relationship field, so now you need to create it again. So relationship field you can avoid. So if you have a different relationship in your mind, and if you create a different way, never mind. That doesn't matter. You can leave the relationship fields and create rest of the fields. Okay, online participants, also again another activity, you can do it and we can connect back, and if you have any issue blockers, you can ask support of us, we will do. Yeah.